The story begins in the future when a massive explosion on the sun's surface completely destroyed the Earth's ozone layer, making it nearly impossible for any living creature to survive on Earth. This explosion is called a solar flare. Conditions were so dire that anyone stepping outside into direct sunlight would start to burn. 15 years after this incident, we see an engineer named Finch who was out looking for some food with his robot partner Dewey. To protect himself from the sun's deadly UV rays, he wore a special suit that protected his entire body from radiation and would also warn him to hide somewhere if the radiation levels started to rise. Anyway, Finch, humming something, arrived at a store with Dewey, where they collected dog food along with other supplies. There were many dead bodies lying on the ground, but they ignored them. After finishing his work, Finch put a mark on the building so he would remember next time that he had cleared it out. That's why Finch was moving forward, bumping into cars to clear the path. Suddenly, Finch's suit alerted him that a huge storm was approaching, so Finch tried to flee from there quickly. In his haste, he collided with some vehicles and escaped the city just in time. Soon, he reached his underground lab. This place actually used to belong to the same space energy company where he worked. Anyway, the storm was still approaching him very quickly, but Finch dragged Dewey into the building, and thus he had a narrow escape. Finally, after getting to safety, Finch thoroughly cleaned his suit and Dewey. Then, while he was taking a shower, he started coughing violently. It is then revealed that he is going to die soon due to the dangerous radiation. After cleaning up, Finch reached his small room. As soon as he saw him, his dog Goodyear bounded over, and Finch petted him warmly. Then he gave his dog the food he had brought. But Finch himself only had a drink because he had very little food left. Later, he stared longingly at a can of peaches in the fridge, but somehow managed to stop himself and save the can for a special occasion. After this, Finch got busy with his main project. He was actually building a humanoid robot that would take care of Goodyear even after he died. One of Finch's robots scanned all the books in the library, saving all their information into a database. And now Finch was about to upload this database into the humanoid robot's brain. Anyway, in between, he would take short breaks to play catch with his dog. Then in the evening, while Finch was reading a book on radiation, he became very dejected as he realized he didn't have much time left. So instead of sleeping, he continued to work on his robot. He had almost finished the head, but it was just missing the eyes. That's why he took out Dean's eyes and said that he would give him new eyes later. But as soon as he activated his robot, it couldn't speak, but it was answering Finch's questions by nodding its head. Finch was very happy to see that. So he quickly fixed its speaking problem too. Finally, the robot spoke. Seeing it, his dog Goodyear got nervous and then barked loudly at it. Then the robot chose the name Jeff and told his owner, Finch, that he knew everything that was put into the database. According to its programming, the robot had to obey all of Finch's orders, the first of which was that it would not harm humans. Finally, Finch explained to Jeff that his real purpose is to take care of Goodyear after I die. Just then, the power in the building suddenly went out. Finch went outside and restarted the wind turbine. Meanwhile, Jeff tried to talk to Goodyear, but the dog just peed on his leg and walked away. Just then, Finch saw a massive storm approaching from a distance, so he quickly ran inside and connected Jeff to the weather station. It is then revealed that in the next 24 hours, 4 different storms will collide to form a tornado that will last for about 40 days. It was absolutely impossible to escape such a massive tornado, so Finch decided to leave this place as soon as possible. In the end, he ate his can of peaches and, ignoring the blood running from his nose, he looked at the map and saw that this might be the last way to escape. Now they would have to head west towards the city of San Francisco. After that, Finch finished building Jeff's body and increased the data transfer speed. Still, only 72% done, but little time. Finally, he connected the robot's body to its head, and Jeff stood up. Then Finch taught him to walk, which made Goodyear bark even more. Jeff stumbled and fell a few times. After that, Finch packed all his necessary belongings Meanwhile, due to not having eyes, Dewey was repeatedly bumping into things, so Finch used his security cameras to give him new eyes. After this, the whole team got into the RV and left. On the way, they saw that all the areas around them had turned into desert. Then Finch told them about the golden days of Earth, when there were beautiful flowers and animals. Just then, he noticed that a screw was loose in Jeff's head. That's why when they all reached a new city, Finch stopped somewhere and fixed him up. While Finch was working, Jeff saw his postcard collection. Finch kept the San Francisco postcard especially safe because someone close to him had sent it. Then Jeff said that he really liked the Sydney postcard and wanted to go there. But it's impossible to go there without an airplane. Finally, after the repairs were complete, Finch said that he would now go out to find something to eat. But when Dewey found out that Finch was taking Jeff with him this time instead of him, he became very disappointed. Well, they set out. Finch told Jeff to gather supplies. After wandering, they reached a movie theater. Its door was tied with a thick chain. But Jeff, with his strength, easily ripped the door off. Jeff first saw himself. Thrilled, Finch found popcorn. He went outside and showed Jeff that the sun's rays were so intense that all the popcorn popped on its own in just a few moments. But then, they saw the storm racing toward them. They jumped into the RV and sped out of the city. But the storm was about to swallow them. Now the only option they had left was to find a safe shelter. Then, with Jeff's help, Finch tied the RV down with cables so the storm wouldn't blow it away. Finch had become very weak from his illness, so he got tired quickly. Then Jeff sent him back to the RV and worked vigorously to finish the job himself. Inside, Finch sent Goodyear into a cabinet and then quickly covered all the windows and called out to Jeff. As soon as Jeff tied the last cable, the storm reached their RV, but Jeff also got inside just in the nick of time. When the storm struck, the RV shook hard. Finch and Jeff stayed inside, slightly nervous. Outside, the wires snapped one by one. Finally, only a single wire remained. After the RV shook for a long time, the storm passed, and they all finally stepped out. Finch saw that the only cable left was the one Jeff had put all his effort into securing. Anyway, the storm had also damaged one of their tires. So Jeff lifted the RV with his hands so that Finch could easily change the tire. Then the whole team rested there for the night. The next morning, they opened the solar panels and set off on their way again. Later, Jeff also started barking at Goodyear because he thought he might be able to learn the language of dogs. But Finch explained to him, "Don't worry, with time, Goodyear will learn to trust you." Later, when they were on the road, Jeff asked him what trust actually is. But Finch couldn't figure out how to explain it to him. Then he told Jeff a story about when he was at his first job. No one was working properly on his project. Then Finch had solved all the software problems by himself. But when it came time to give credit, he gave the whole team's name, saying that everyone had worked on it together. He won trust. Jeff didn't get it. Finch coughed. Then they stopped at a restaurant to take a break. He parked the RV in the shade at the entrance and ran into the restaurant without wearing his suit. But just then, he saw that he was coughing up blood. Suddenly, he heard Goodyear barking. He saw that Goodyear was not willing to come outside with Jeff. Then Finch himself grabbed his leash and brought him into the restaurant and told Jeff to guard the RV. Meanwhile, Finch was playing with Goodyear, and right there, Jeff sat in the driver's seat, turned on the music, and then tried to drive the RV, but then he collided with a car, hearing noise. Finch sprinted outside immediately. Seeing him, Goodyear followed too. He was about to step into the sun's rays when Finch stopped him just in time. Now Finch scolded Jeff and told him to park the RV back very carefully. But this time, the RV crashed into the restaurant. Then Finch, furious, held his hand out in the sunlight and told Jeff to look closely at how badly it burns. He started yelling at Jeff that because of one of your screw-ups, Goodyear could have died. Think before you act. Your only focus should be on Goodyear. Anyway, later when they set off for their destination, Finch saw that Jeff was quite sad. so he decided he would personally teach Jeff how to drive. At first, Jeff had a little trouble and kept bumping into things, but soon he got the hang of it and started driving comfortably. Finally, when night fell, they stopped somewhere and together watched the beautiful northern lights. Now that the Earth's ozone layer was gone, they were clearly visible with ease. Jeff asked why. If the sun is such a problem, they don't travel at night. So Finch explained that people were wandering from place to place. Many were hungry, and they attacked from the shadows. Then, the next morning, Jeff heard Goodyear barking and ran to Finch. Finch was vomiting and shivering badly. Jeff took good care of him and then told him to rest. Now he started driving himself and soon reached a new city. Then Jeff told Goodyear to stay with Finch and took Dewey with him to look for some food. First, they entered a hospital, but there wasn't much there. Jeff told Dewey to wait at the door and went upstairs himself. But neither of them noticed that someone was watching them from the darkness. Meanwhile, Jeff found some medicine and a jacket, which he put on. Then he found a cabinet with a lot of essential supplies. Down below, Dewey also found something to eat. But as soon as Dewey moved toward it, he got caught in a trap and was destroyed. Meanwhile, when Finch opened his eyes, he saw that his robots weren't there. He realized he was in trouble. So even in his weakened state, he put on his suit and went out. In a few moments, he reached Dewey. Finch couldn't bear to see him in such terrible condition, so he turned off Dewey's power. At that moment, he heard someone approaching and prepared to attack, but it was none other than Jeff. Finch scolded him harshly because Jeff hadn't noticed that a trap had been set here. Suddenly, they heard a noise nearby and immediately started running. Then on the stairs, Finch started coughing badly and fell to his knees, but those sounds were rapidly getting closer to them. So Jeff picked Finch up, and both of them immediately came out of the building. Then they quickly reached the RV and sped away from there. A few hours later, when night fell, Finch finally noticed that someone in a car was following them. Jeff had night vision and could drive even in the dark. That's why he turned off all the vehicle's lights. But still, that car was right behind them. Then they tried to increase their speed. But just then, Finch noticed the underpass ahead. So, at the last moment, he turned the steering wheel and drove the RV off the road. Jeff told Finch the RV's taller than the underpass. "We'll get stuck." But Finch kept driving the RV in a panic to hide it under the underpass. Anyway, Jeff turned out to be absolutely right. But now, because of the collision with the underpass, the solar panels on the RV's roof were damaged. Since they were already damaged, Jeff pushed with all his might and completely hid the RV under the underpass. Now they were all very scared and waited for the car behind them to leave. Then Jeff noticed that Finch also kept a gun to protect himself. Luckily, the car drove off, and Finch came out to check the RV's damage. He cursed himself, saying he couldn't fix it now. He realized they wouldn't be able to reach San Francisco in this condition. Jeff tried to encourage him, but Finch lost his temper in anger. He started yelling at him, but Jeff didn't lose heart and went into the RV, saying that he had full faith in him and that he'd figure something out. Then Finch told him a story once again. In the beginning, after the solar flare explosion, people were just learning new ways to live. Then Finch reached a supermarket and found a bag of noodles. But then he saw a mother and daughter whose cart was full of supplies. The child had a gun in her hands, and her mother kept telling her to shoot anyone who appeared. Out of fear for his life, Finch stayed hidden there. But at that moment, a thug arrived with a shotgun and started demanding their belongings. And in the scuffle, he fired several shots. By the time Finch came out, both the mother and daughter were dead. But just then, he heard a sound. He looked at the girl's bag, and a frightened puppy came out of it. That day, Finch adopted the puppy, named him Goodyear, and decided he would always protect him. From that day on, he decided he would trust no one. Anyway, the next morning Finch was resting and Jeff was driving the RV. Then Jeff checked the postcards and found that the San Francisco card was signed by Finch's father, while the rest of the postcards were completely blank. Right then, the computer said the UV here wasn't that dangerous, and just then a butterfly hit the RV. Confused, Jeff stopped the RV and woke Finch. "Finch, Surprised, stuck his hand out. It didn't burn at all. Seeing this, he jumped for joy and came out to enjoy the sunshine. When he saw butterflies and a flower nearby, he was overjoyed. After traveling for several hours, they started to see many trees and plants in the nearby area. To celebrate this, Finch put on his special suit, stopped the RV, and sat down for a picnic in the sunshine. Then Jeff said that he had seen them all standing on the bridge last night. Hearing this, Finch was very happy because Jeff had now learned to dream like a human. Then Jeff asked him why he lied about the postcard. So Finch told him a new story. When he was a child, his mother told him that his father had Viking blood in his veins. Then Finch showed Jeff a picture of a Viking funeral. Finch's father had left before he was born because he was an engineer who built large bridges, and his work required him to travel to different countries. Finch never spoke to him, but then on his 15th birthday, he received a postcard. His father had written that one day he would like to meet his son, and Finch had bought this suit for this special occasion. Anyway, unfortunately, he never heard from his father again after that. Jeff found this story very interesting, but Finch reminded him of his condition, that he wouldn't be able to make it there and was going to die soon. Then he taught Jeff to play with Goodyear by throwing a ball. But even when Jeff threw the ball, Goodyear would bring it back to Finch because he still didn't trust Jeff. Just then, Finch suddenly started coughing up a lot of blood. Jeff tried to help him, but Finch said that he had already helped him a lot. Then he shook hands with Jeff and hugged him. Finally, Finch lay down in the RV. Goodyear joined him inside. Jeff stayed outside, gathering supplies. But as the sun set, he heard Goodyear crying, and he understood that Finch had died. Finally, in his honor, Jeff and Goodyear gave him a Viking-style funeral, cremating him with his suit on. At first, Jeff didn't know what to do next, but he soon remembered that he had promised to take care of Goodyear. He fed Goodyear and then threw a ball, and for the first time, Goodyear brought the ball back to him. Soon, they became friends while playing, and Goodyear even hugged Jeff. Finally, they set off on the road again because they wanted to reach Finch's destination. Finally, when they reached San Francisco, Jeff built a memorial in Finch's memory and went to see the Golden Gate with Goodyear. He was amazed by the beauty of the place. He also saw messages that people had left for their families. Seeing all this, Jeff told Goodyear that they should find these remaining people and help them. Finally, he made a drawing of his team on a postcard and hung it up, then set off to start a new life with Goodyear. Like the video? Please like and subscribe.